Hello and welcome to True Crime Diary, a light-hearted podcast on a serious subject. Every 2 weeks we look back through true crime stories to discuss an event that took place on this week in history. I'm your host Mark Decana, and with me as always are my friends Jed Lester.
Hello.
And Rue Turner.
Hello.
The date we're looking at this time is the 1st of December, and in 1957, one Charles Starkweather claimed the first victim of a murder spree that would claim 11 victims when he shot a service station attendant in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Well, I thought you were going to say Lincolnshire.
Lincoln County, New Mexico.
How old was he when he did this?
He was
19 years old.
19 years old.
Have you said his name?
Yes, I very much opened it.
Starkweather.
Forgotten
Charlie Starkweather. So,
Charles Raymond Starkweather, for 'twas his name, of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Charles Raving Stark. Bonkers, more like.
it was an ill-weather day that you met him.
Yes.
Right, I won't
Any
forget
more?
his name now. Charles Starkweather.
Charles Starkweather, yes.
Is this why are we doing this? Is this well-known murder?
Well, yeah, because he was a spree killer.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Serial.
No,
No.
really.
Hang on. What's the difference?
Spree's like when you just do a load in a quick
Has to be in a
succession.
short-
Oh, is it?
has to be in a short
Serial
period
is
of
like
time.
a long
A
sequential
time scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Serial killers have to have killed 3 or more people over a long period.
And they're timed.
Spree, yeah.
Go.
Spree
But
killer.
if that spree is compacted into, say, a weekend,
Yep.
then it's probably a mass murderer.
Yeah, but the mass is the amount of people murdered.
Yeah, you can't mass murder one.
But you can
Unless you're at a mass.
you can mass
Well,
murder
yeah.
over
If
a
you're in a
period
ch-
of time. Can't,
if
no,
you're in-
you can't.
no.
Can you? It's in one go, isn't
Yeah,
it? Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
If you're in a church at mass and you kill someone, that could be a mass.
It could
or
be a mass
the
murderer.
mass murder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It would be the mass murder, which would be odd. Anyway, that's all I have on
Or
that.
if it's a giant, then maybe it's a massive murder.
Massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sure, that's probably
If it was a
what
giant
it's taken from.
mass,
Massive.
A massive,
a
mass
massive mass
murder.
murder.
Right. Okay. So he is a. What is he?
Shall I look up some
no, he's not a
definitions?
serial. He's a.
Shall I look
he's
up
a
the-
spree killer.
Yeah,
look
spree
up-
killer.
Shall I get the official
Yeah. Do it.
definition? A spree killer is defined as someone who kills a number of people at one particular time and location in a frenzied, random, and apparently unpremeditated way.
Oh, what if it's not random? Those are quite a lot of sort of defining points
Yes.
in a particular place, in a particular time.
Well, it might, I mean,
Yeah.
there will be a variation of definitions, but yes. I mean, sometimes it doesn't say frenzied either,
No.
but it has to be a particular time and place. All the people.
Okay. And this all began with a service station attendant in Nebraska.
Now, he was slightly isolated. So on the 1st of December, the first victim, he was slightly in isolation because
Slightly.
the spree began about
sorry.
7.
I thought you were saying he's miles from anywhere.
No,
he's in isolation.
There was a pause in time. So he killed someone, and then about 6 weeks later, he went on. He then
right.
killed 10 people in quick succession.
okay. Yeah.
So what you were asking was, is it notable?
Yes.
And the reason is because it's a spree. People study spree killers. There aren't loads of them.
So it's of
Study.
academic interest in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking he's quite young.
Yes. Very much.
You don't
so.
often get many killers of that age, not 19 years old.
No, you don't, do you? Wonder what. Are we going to delve into his psyche?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't imagine his past is glorious.
Well, he was bullied at school, and
Tick.
he was a bully.
Double tick.
Yeah, he had a speech impediment, and he also had he was born with like a leg defect, which basically he was like bow-legged, I guess.
Okay.
Is the closest. And so he was a bit bow-legged, and he had a speech impediment. He got bullied, and then he got bigger and stronger, and then he started to turn his ire at being bullied on others. So he became a bully basically.
Yep.
So he started out being very, really, really well behaved, and then
Got knocked out of him.
it got knocked out of him basically.
Textbook.
Yeah. So there was a quote here. A friend of his from high school said he could be the kindest person you've ever seen. He'd do anything for you if he liked you. He was a hell of a lot of fun to be around too. Everything was one big joke to him, but he had the other side. He could be mean as hell, cruel. If he saw a poor guy on the street who was bigger than he was, better looking or better dressed, he tried to take the poor bastard down to his side.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was from a reasonably large family. He was the third of 7 children.
That's right. Exactly, yeah. Working class family.
His dad a
Low
carpenter
income.
with arthritic fingers, so he couldn't have been working that much.
He couldn't have been much of a carpenter either.
He wouldn't have been. Yeah, well.
Do you think arthritic fingers from just hitting his fingers with hammers quite a lot?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he didn't work much, and then his mum was a waitress, so they were low income family and a large family with low income.
So on the basis that he was 19 when it mainly happened, other than being bullied and bullying,
Jesus.
it doesn't sound as if that much more happened to him, and unless you're going to say something seismic. It wasn't, and 20 years later,
Bullying can be pretty severe.
Yeah, well,
I put it on a par with torture.
Well, I know, but how many?
But it goes
did he
on
then
for several
kill?
years.
Yeah, he killed 11 people ultimately.
I mean, it doesn't usually manifest it in that, does it?
Yeah, but I think it was the violent outbursts, and I think it's just
That he had in him.
Yeah, being bullied led to bullying. His family apparently were afraid of him because of the violence.
Mean kid, bad seed.
Good grief.
So he obviously got very, very violent, and by the time we get to his first killing in December of 57, he then had a gun.
Because you can.
Yeah.
You have to ask, was there any cruelty to small animals?
I'm not aware of it.
Why, is that normal?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It usually comes
Certainly
with
for
the
serial
territory.
killers. With spree, maybe not so much, because it's less
In
habituated.
the build-up, or in the ongoing
But then
day-to-day.
had he not been caught, maybe it would have become habituated and he would have done many, many murders. But yeah, cruelty to animals is a fairly basic tick.
Because it's easy. And
And it's experimental. And,
great. I only got halfway through. American Psycho, the book, not the film, and I just couldn't read it anymore. It was just horrendous, basically.
Not badly written.
Yeah, it was awful. There's loads of spelling mistakes. But it was. I know it's fiction, but it was along those lines, and there was tons of. And, I came home from work, I got a McDonald's, I tortured a puppy to death, and then I went out and, meaning it was just a day-to-day thing. But anyway, it was, honestly, I just couldn't read it anymore. It was horrendous. So I was just like, I'll forget it, I'm not reading this. But anyway, that occurred in a admittedly fictitious novel, but it was bordering on daily thing. For whatever his name was.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale.
So the controversial figure, to my mind, is not as much Starkweather as his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Who was named Caril Ann Fugate. Not Carol, Caril.
Caril.
So he met her in 1956 when he was 18. She was 13.
Right.
Okay.
Well, he dropped out of high school, and he got a job specifically so that it was near her school, so that he could visit her every day after she finished school. And she accompanied him on his spree.
Wow.
Okay.
She claimed later on that she did absolutely nothing. She was in the car the whole time. She didn't do anything, basically. But he said that she killed some of the people that was accredited to him.
Right.
But he did change his story an awful lot. So she's quite an interesting figure in that regard.
Do we know much about her early life history? I mean, she's not got much earlier life than 13, but...
Sure.
Yeah, she's mostly just known for going on the spree with Starkweather. But again, she's a Lincoln, Nebraska local. But yeah, there isn't really anything, not too much that's publicised about her that I've seen.
Obviously, I don't know, fascinated or attracted to power or the bully bloke in charge or something.
Yeah, it might be that she is another hybristophiliac that we talked about, like Bonnie Parker.
Yeah.
That she was into bad boys, basically.
Sure, yeah.
If you feel that way about it, you love the guy.
She's still alive, because she obviously quite easily could be.
She is, I believe, so yes.
Late 70s. In her late 70s.
She is. She applied for a pardon a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago. Hang on. Where is she? Free?
Nebraska, yeah.
She's free person.
She's a free person.
But she's got a kind of label.
Well, I mean, we'll get to crimes and sentencing.
Okay.
But she ultimately, yes, she got out of prison. She went to prison. She got out of prison.
Okay.
And she tried to get a pardon and she was denied.
Forget it,
yeah. Because pardoning is when someone is not guilty of a crime.
Of course,
and said, well,
you're definitely.
You are, so you're not getting a pardon. But that was only a couple of years ago, yeah. So she's been trying since 1958.
Wow. And failing.
And failing, yeah.
Wow.
Quite right, too. So she's an interesting figure in that respect. But we don't know a great deal about her, or I don't know a great deal about her. Let's put it that way. So Charlie Starkweather taught his young girlfriend how to drive, and she crashed the car, which was Starkweather's dad's car.
So he's not a good teacher.
No. And he was kicked out of the home, the Starkweather home.
He probably didn't set her.
I thought they were frightened of him.
Well, they were, but I mean...
That's why they
said, you
booted him out.
Yeah.
Well, pop out while I change the locks kind of scenario.
Enough's enough, maniac.
Yeah. After this, he became kind of a nihilist. Basically, his situation was somewhere along the lines of that he was stuck in that situation, exiled by the family, poor,
Not very nice.
Lashing out at people he thought were better than him.
Yep.
So the only thing he had really was to then make himself better by being powerful over other people.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So basically being...
Which he was kind of doing anyway with his...
Yeah, as a bully.
Embryonic stages of it.
Do we have any indication what his sort of educational... I mean, I know he's only 19 and he was bullied at school. So, I mean, was he particularly good at school or not very good at school?
I understand that he was doing quite well, but he didn't have any positive recollection of it being at school. He didn't...
Right.
He said he hated the school, but apparently he was doing all right by comparison.
Okay.
Apparently. But he basically, he dropped out of school because of this nihilist outlook and this being put upon and what have you.
Nothing matters.
Yeah. So in later testimony, he said that he had a personal philosophy of dead people are all on the same level.
Yeah, I suppose that's
roughly 6 foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, of course, would include him.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Not sure why.
Ultimately, spree killers tend to take their own lives as well. So he would then be on the same level as everyone.
So I'm not going to ask the question because it'll ruin the end of the pod. But right, okay. Do they generally do that?
Generally speaking, yes.
Do they? Right. Must remind
people who go on
Yeah, because it's not habituated killing. It's like a blam, 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 blam.
Yeah. Oh my
what
God.
have I done?
Yeah.
Well, I've got one bullet left.
Yeah.
I mean, the opposite is if they're shot by police.
Yep.
In which case you wouldn't know whether they would have taken their own life or not. But those who aren't shot by police, generally speaking...
Some who are shot by police have taken their life by being shot by the police. You know, it's part
suicide
of the...
by cup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, they've deliberately, I don't know, run at them or whatever.
Yeah. Run at them.
Well, that would be enough, though, wouldn't it?
That would do it, yeah.
That absolutely would do it.
Yeah.
Or if you put
one hand in a pocket and run at the police.
Finger in your jumper.
You'll never take me alive, copper.
Or like Michael Douglas in Falling Down, when he has a water pistol in his pocket. Do you remember that? Spoiler alert. he gets shot at the end.
There's a thing. Have you ever seen Gran Torino? Clint Eastwood.
I'm aware of it.
He deliberately, it's not the police at all, but he deliberately does
Reaches,
a move to reach into his pocket to draw fire from the baddies. But he deliberately does it, and unfortunately he knows he's going to die, but he also knows that everyone will realise that he was completely unarmed because he pulled out a lighter. And then all of them got arrested and sent to prison because they murdered him, even though he was technically unarmed. But he lured them.
Right.
That's not tends to what happens these days.
So, no, I haven't seen it, no. But thanks for telling me the end.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, by the way, for 5 minutes ago.
Gran Torino, everyone. Clint Eastwood. Right, okay, so serial killers generally...
Spree killers.
What? Oh, right, yeah.
Serial killers
just keep going until somebody stops them.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, so sprees
I keep mixing them up.
Spree.
I shouldn't mix them up.
You shouldn't.
They're completely different, kind of.
In their own special way.
So let's talk about the crimes themselves.
Yes.
then.
Okay. So we've got the petrol station, gas station.
Gas station, if you like, or service station. Call it what will. So it's late in the evening or late into the night of the 30th November 1957
Okay.
when Charles Starkweather had a set to with Robert Culvert, who was the service station attendant.
Hello.
Apparently, he tried to buy what's described as a stuffed animal on credit, and he was denied, so he got angry at the service station attendant. Apparently, he went back a number of times buying small items, probably to case the joint, and then he came back again. The final time he came back, he brought with him a shotgun, demanded $100 from the till, and then kidnapped Culvert. And this is according to Starkweather's testimony. They fought over the gun, and he fired, killing him.
Yeah, classic.
Yep, so that would have been the next morning by that time, 1st of December.
So his testimony was to try and defend himself.
No, he was banged to rights. This is basically him saying his version of what happened. Now, bearing in mind his version of what happened, A, varied a lot, and B, didn't match up with Carroll and Fugate's.
But he wasn't arrested for that sort of reason shortly after that, was he?
No.
No, this is the assessment that took place.
This is what he told after his arrest.
Right.
His
eventual arrest.
His eventual arrest.
Yeah.
So he's basically telling the story. This would have been a murder that would not have been known to be attributed to him. So afterwards, he said, "I killed them."
Okay.
So a number of weeks later, it's now the 21st of January the following year.
That's a few months later.
1958. Yeah, I mean, it's about 6, maybe 7 weeks.
Yeah.
He went to Caroline Fugate's home, where he saw her mother and stepfather. They told him to go away, so he shot them both.
Oh,
is that it?
Yeah.
That was the only reason.
he's got a very light trigger, this guy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, she's in. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, well, bearing in mind, the first person the first person he killed, he wanted to buy a teddy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, all right. Yeah, okay, fine.
So, but also, as well as shooting the mother and stepfather, he also beat to death their 2-year-old daughter.
Oh, my God.
As well.
Right.
And he hid all the bodies behind the house.
Jesus Christ.
You don't hide bodies behind a house. Houses have like roughly 4 sides.
Yeah, sure. For the purposes of this discussion, yes.
Yeah, well,
just like it would hide them behind the house if you open the back door and just push them out. You know?
Well, probably under a tarp or like some bracken. I don't know.
Round the back.
Now, this is where Fugate and Starkweather's stories immediately started.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, hang on. Where was she when he did that to her
He's not in.
family? Well, she was probably a bit
She said she
disturbed.
Yeah. She said that she was perturbed. She said that she wasn't there.
Do you know what?
Basically, she said that she was out, but Starkweather said that she was there the whole time.
Right,
That she knew and witnessed the murders. But she later claimed that...
Her own family?
Yeah. Well, this is... Yeah, exactly. So, but she later claimed that he used the threat of killing her family to get her to go with him on his drive. On his
So that threat's kind of a bit loose at the point that her family is dead.
Yeah.
The threat no longer is a threat.
Well, she claims that she thought they were alive and that he just threatened to kill her. But she arrived home and where he intercepted her with a gun.
Yep.
And said that they were being held hostage and then they would be killed.
They had been killed already.
But they had already been killed, yeah.
So she wasn't there, is my point. She's not sitting in a car with the engine running kind of outside.
No, he said that she was there with him when he did the deed.
Okay.
And she said that she arrived home and he said that they were hostages and they had to go away. But they stayed there, but apparently Fugate's grandmother, I don't know if she was in the house or in another house, a neighbouring house, but she called the police out of suspicion, presumably from the many gunshots.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
They stayed there for like nearly a week.
God, with the bodies
round the back
hidden
of the
in
house.
Well, apparently, yeah. This is where the question of whether she thought they were being held hostage. And she's there a week and didn't go, can I?
Yeah. Where's
Hello?
Mum and Dad? Yeah.
Where are they then?
I'm just going to pop home and see them.
Yeah. Well, they're in the house that they're supposed to be in.
Right.
So,
Oh, dear.
Anyway, the police arrive on the 27th, so
She's-
6 days later.
She's 13 and under the
But hang on,
control
didn't
of
she
someone
live-
who's quite
she
violent
lives
and
there,
controlling.
though, doesn't she?
Yeah, this is all
She
her
lives
home.
in that house.
She lived in that house. She got home. He said, I've got them hostage and I'll kill them if you don't do as I say, apparently.
Yes.
And then they stayed there for 6 days.
What's a Nebraska January weather like? I imagine it's quite cold.
I would imagine it was quite...
Well, I
Yeah,
don't think
so-
the temperature matters.
Well, it
when
does,
you-
because
it's
the
like,
bodies
well,
are going to stay fresh out the back. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to get stinky.
But I was going to say,
yeah.
my point is it's like, where are my parents? And what
Yeah.
was
Well, yeah,
the
well-
2-year-old? Is that a brother?
There would be a step-brother to her, yeah. Or
It's
half
like, where are they?
Yeah.
What are you
Well,
talking
yeah,
about?
where the hell are they?
Well, if they are
they're being held hostage,
hostaged, where are they?
Behind the house. They're being
And
held
what's all
hostage.
this ketchup splashed across the kitchen?
Well, yeah, they were shot, which would imply a lot of
And
meth.
beating to death anything is
That
going to
bit
create
again.
a lot of residue.
Yeah, at this point, nobody's story is holding up.
No.
Yeah, this is just... this is
after.
early on. Yeah. So just before the police arrived at the house after the phone call,
6 bloody days later.
6 days later, they drove to a family friend in Bennett, in Nebraska still. 78-year-old August Meyer. He was shot in the head with the shotgun. Went there, killed him and his dog.
I grab a dog and I kick the shit out of him.
Well, hang on. Why
And
did they go
dog
there?
spot.
Because they're now
be on the run.
running, yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. Oh, God.
So they drove from, I guess, Lincoln to
Yes.
Bennett.
I'm guessing he drove, because
Oh,
she's
'cause
not
she
very
would've
good.
Crashed the car, yeah. They drove to someone else's house, killed him and his dog, and then drove away somewhere else.
So they didn't stay there?
Not for a long period of time, no.
I'm just going to... I don't know why. I'm just going to see how far. Bennett, Nebraska. Directions to Lincoln. It's 76 miles.
Hours drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight road back then. Yeah. Hourish.
It was a very straight road.
So in terms of cruelty to animals, he's now shot a dog.
Okay, sorry, breaking news. If you're going to drive from Lincoln, Nebraska to... What was the other one? Bennett, Nebraska. You have... you turn left after being on the 80. You turn left at...
McCool Junction.
McCool Junction. As in muck, as in cool.
Nice.
That was in... what film was that in?
McCool Junction.
No. I want to be known as McCool. Super bad. Anyway, McCool Junction. Turn left. That's what they did.
And now the weather. So, now they drive to Lincoln. Now
Back again.
Back again.
Oh, okay.
There and back again. A spree killer's tale.
Yes.
Rich part of Lincoln, to the home of...
somewhere else.
Yeah, to the home of C. Loward and his wife Clara, where they stabbed their maid, Ludmilla Fensel, to death.
What?
Are these just random people?
These are random
So
people.
they just pulled into Lincoln and went up to a house.
Yes.
Right.
Pulled into a rich house, went in, killed the maid, and then waited. And then when C. Loward and his wife Clara came home, Clara was stabbed to death. And Lower Ward, who arrived home later, was shot and killed as well.
Right.
I
And
don't understand why he's doing this.
it's random, he's a nutter.
Well, I know, but
And they broke the neck of the family dog. Dog number 2.
why did they do that?
Now choke him all day long, my foot up a dog's ass. Just bang, bang, bang up his ass.
It's not very nice.
It just, I guess it's...
Dog number 2.
Very nice. This is spree killer. It's not very nice, is it?
Yeah, but he could be.
Could be nice.
Why on earth would you... The dog's not going to mention it.
He
to
might
the police.
Yeah, definitely.
Raise
can't.
alarm.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Get
So
rid of it.
stabbing is quiet, obviously, as long as you kill them relatively quickly before they start screaming and gurgling at you.
Sure, yeah.
But it's a very visceral act. You know, you can't... but if you're firing a gun at someone, it's very detached. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's loud. Stabbing is... Yeah, I mean, you've got to mean it. I mean, putting a knife into a body is hard work.
Oh, God.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's tough. And
Is
it's
it?
up
Yeah.
close and personal. Well, that's my, that's my
When
experience.
you slice chicken,
Yes.
it's quite easy.
Yeah, you'll get through, like, half an inch of chicken. If you want to sink a blade
You don't normally
8 inches
slice a
into a
person.
body.
They tend to be stabbed, which
Yeah.
means going through
Other
bone
things.
and through
Yeah.
or part around bone.
I'm thinking
Getting
of
a knife in between,
You're not slicing
in between ribs into an organ that's going to actually
I'm thinking
kill
of a perfectly filleted piece of chicken.
Yeah, it's not the same
skinless,
as carving a roast.
boneless.
Yeah. Okay. He was a rotter.
He was quite the rotter.
He's awful. He's terrible.
Not only that, he isn't even nice.
They drove their car into some mud, abandoned it, and
Bet she drove that bit.
Yeah, she drove that leg of the road. Now, 2 local teenagers said that they pulled in alongside and offered them a ride. And
You didn't kill them, did you?
Starkweather shot them both in the back of the head.
All right. Why didn't you just say yes?
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you awfully. Terribly kind of you.
Yeah, well, this is one of the times when Starkweather said that Fugate's role was more than she let on. So he...
Okay.
There's a boy and a girl, Robert Jensen and Carol King. Apparently he tried to rape King. Apparently he was, quote, unable to do so.
All right.
God, I don't want to know what that means.
And he shot her as well. But he said that Fugate killed King, the girl.
Right. I don't know.
She said she was in the car the whole time.
I mean, it's unlikely that she would go, actually, go on, give us a go. But
Give us a go on your
I don't know.
But
Because she's been
if
exposed to quite a few murders
and
now.
if she's infatuated by
Yeah.
him, I'm not. I mean, that's my words. But
I mean, it could have become
and because
normalised
it was so
over this
easy and
short,
normalised,
intensive
and
period.
whatever. Do you want a lift? Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
It
just gets exciting.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So they wanted to get a new car. So they saw there was a guy named Merle Collison. He was sleeping in his car. They'd driven by this time to Wyoming, and they woke the guy up who was parked in a Buick.
Oh yeah.
Woke him
nice.
up
Nice.
and shot him.
Oh.
Oh.
Hope they didn't dent the chrome.
Well, again, in this instance, Starkweather said that he shot him, and he then claimed that Fugate did the kill shot. He didn't die immediately.
How did they point of order? How did they get to Wyoming? In a stolen car.
In a stolen car, yeah.
Wyoming is 626 miles away from
Okay.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
That's a day's drive. A
If
couple
not,
of days' drive.
In a old-fashioned.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to sit down for that long.
No.
Hello, my name's Mark Decano, and I host the Comedy in a Nutshell podcast, in which I talk with those in and around the comedy circuit, and most especially the comedians, about what comedy means to them.
Simon Amstel plus Lena Dunham plus Mr. Blobby. I thought that would be a good combo.
Every gig you get is somebody else not getting a gig.
Sometimes I've had people pull out a notepad and I've been like, oh no, thank you.
You are a jester and you're here to bring light relief to people's lives.
Somebody at the end was like, oh my God, she's dirty. And I was like, thank you very much.
My boyfriend says he feels like he has to tread very carefully because he was like, I know that everything has the potential to become material.
I can now give to people and they definitely in that moment are having a good time.
So if you want to know more about what comedy means to the people at its heart, then hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Comedy in a Nutshell, wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Fringe, baby.
So 600 miles away, what happened? he killed someone else.
Well, they stole. They had a 1956 Packard, and they.
Or Hewlett Packard.
Hewlett Packard. They were driving
got the new
an old
Hewlett.
Printer. And so they went to Wyoming and they wanted to get another car, so they stole the Buick.
Right.
So he obviously Merle Collison, whose Buick it was, he was shot, but Starkweather claimed that he shot him, and then Fugate did the kill shot him again.
Okay,
right.
Fugate always denied that she killed anybody. She said, never did. Obviously,
you would.
And but he said that she was like trigger happy. Right. That was his claim. But unfortunately, they weren't familiar with the parking brake on the Buick.
On the Buick, yeah.
So the car stalled because the brake hadn't been released, and a passing motorist named Joe Sprinkle.
Yep.
He stopped and he went over to help him. And there was an altercation, at which point a county sheriff's deputy arrived on the scene.
Ooh.
And
Looking good for Sprinkle now.
Well, Fugate apparently ran up to the county sheriff and said,
Oh God, help me, please!
Pointed out it's Starkweather. For the benefit of the audience, I just pointed at nothing with my hand.
Oh, right. So she dobbed him in.
She dobbed him in.
Wow.
Claiming that it was going to kill her.
Wow, that's
claiming.
out of, not that I know her, out of character.
Well, I mean, again, this is Starkweather changing his story. Maybe, why he would want to dob her in, for want of a better phrase, after the fact. I don't know, but he was changing his story, saying that she was involved. Normally, in those situations, you would say she wasn't involved to protect her, wouldn't you?
I see what you mean. Yeah. But she'd done the same to him.
It wouldn't make
his... So if she was a victim, as she claimed, then that's why she would do that.
It wouldn't make his sentencing any lighter.
No, exactly.
No. To take it all on himself.
Exactly, yeah.
And if she just, admittedly, either told the truth or was involved and lied about doing all the killing, no, I was round the corner or whatever, then the notion of him going, she did it, as opposed to wanting to protect her because he was nutcase.
Maybe he thought if she got deaded, potentially alongside him, then they would be at the same level, as per his nihilist philosophy.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just within his psyche to blame.
Maybe he's just a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably more likely. So she told the police.
She ran up to the sheriff's deputy, said, Starkweather, he's going to kill me, Words to that effect. Not in that voice, but
Dagnabbit.
Taranation. So, proceed the car chase.
Ooh.
Hang on, where? Check the mileage.
Because they're 600 miles away at this point.
Well,
do we know where?
No, because this is a chase.
That's annoying.
It's not a chase. It's not a chase to a destination. They're just driving away as fast as they can.
I'll see you in McCool Junction.
Quick to McCool Junction.
Chase me
as fast as you can. The sheriff's deputy, a police chief, and a county sheriff.
Some police.
They drove after Starkweather.
Yes.
As fast as their wheels would carry them.
Was he in his Buick?
In the Buick. Over 100 miles an hour, apparently.
Gosh.
In the 50s. They were firing as they went, and apparently they...
Was it out the window?
Yeah. One presumes.
Was it leaning out the window?
Leaning out the window, yeah.
And one to the rear. It'd be forwards, wouldn't it? Yeah. Chasing them.
They drove in front of him and fired back at him. Although they did hit the windscreen of the car.
Yeah.
The windshield.
Shoot the glass.
I would have aimed at the tires.
Well, Starkweather's windshield.
Yeah.
From behind.
Yeah. Well, apparently they might have pulled alongside. Who could say?
True.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that doesn't... Through the rear window and then to the windshield?
Well, if he's got the window down and he's firing out the side, and they pull up alongside and firing at him, it might
go
hit the glass.
Past him and into the windscreen from the inside.
Well, it's going to have to.
Let's assume that was exactly what happened.
If it got shot, the windshield, then alongside he couldn't have been in front, surely.
No, it would have to have been alongside.
Otherwise, I would have turned off.
Maybe the bullet went through the back.
That's what I'm saying. The back window.
And then took out the front window. But however the bullet happened to find its way into the car,
got there,
it hit the windscreen.
Okay.
The windscreen shattered and he got glass all over him and he's bleeding.
Well, hang on.
All right, gosh.
Hang on.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, that does not mean...
This is not the Zabruda.
That doesn't mean he was shot through the back window and then to the front, because it would have gone outwards a bit, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily.
The glass.
Yeah, but he's driving forward.
Well, I know he is, but
significant air pressure.
But it wouldn't just go shatter and then go like that, would it?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Mind you, I bet it was rubbish glass. It was just literally normal glass. Yeah. As opposed to
it had just been a window.
Today, it's kind of like the car glass.
Yeah, it's laminated glass. It'll fragment into really tiny, weeny little pieces.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, let's agree that
it would be rubbish glass.
By hook or by crook, the glass broke.
Okay, fine. And it landed on him.
And he got shards of flying glass.
Oh, God. Right. We wouldn't get that today, would we?
No.
It would just go...
It'd turn into lumpy sand.
Well, it would also not even necessarily shatter. It
You
would
could
just
probably
go
push the whole thing out in one.
and
probably-
it stays
yeah,
together.
buckled
doesn't it?
Probably would. Yeah.
Safety glass.
So,
Yes.
now bleeding, he stopped the car and surrendered.
You are a very bad person.
Oh, did he?
For purposes of distance
Coward.
plotting, the scene of the arrest was somewhere near Douglas in Wyoming.
Right. Interesting.
So,
Hold on, everyone.
distance divided by 100 miles an hour.
Douglas, Wyoming. Right. okay.
Yes.
We can work out how long this chase lasted.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
Because it's the Natrona County Sheriff, so he will.
Natrona County Sheriff. Right. Okay. So it might have been a 7. Well, anyway, Douglas, Wyoming, is 78 miles away from Natrona.
Okay. So it's
Interesting.
So it could have been, an hour.
It's a shame they didn't drive south on the on the 25, because they could have gone through Chugwater, Wyoming, which is just a funny sound.
Have to be fairly thirsty to chug water.
This is just a funny sounding name, but it sounds as if it was a long chase.
Yeah, it could have been an hour.
Yeah.
So, bleeding, he stopped, he surrendered. He
bleeding stopped.
The Converse County Sheriff. Converse County, who was in the car with the Natrona County Sheriff's deputy.
Ah, okay, yeah.
He basically alleged that he stopped because he thought he was bleeding to death and therefore just wanted, as a coward, he didn't want to bleed to death. He said that's the kind of yellow son of a bitch he is.
Doesn't want to bleed
so
to death.
He wanted to be saved
to live by the police.
Local paramedics.
Yeah. Paramedics. 1958. Yeah.
St. John's ambulance.
Have you got any more interesting travel facts?
No, I haven't. No.
So, obviously, murder.
Yep.
Death penalty.
1 or 20,
obviously.
it's death penalty.
1 or 20, yeah. So he's got 11,
right, okay.
11 murder victims and 2 dogs.
Yeah. I wonder if he just murdered 2 dogs. What do you get for that?
Destruction of property, fine.
Yeah.
Not much,
No.
basically. Really? It's not very nice, is it?
No.
So they've committed crimes, or he, Charles, has committed crimes in Wyoming and Nebraska.
Yes.
So he chose to stand trial in
Wyoming.
Nebraska.
Surely that's the more murdery area.
Yeah, which is the most vengeful state.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know that, yeah.
Well, he thought that both of them had the death penalty, but the governor of Wyoming was against it. So if he'd stood trial in Wyoming, he might have fared better.
Right.
Okay.
But
he just made a...
How is it he gets to choose?
Well, I was also... Yeah, exactly. Also, why didn't Wyoming go, okay then?
Now, wouldn't the state who arrested him go, well, it's our case, we arrested him?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I can't believe Wyoming go, oh, go on then, you take it.
You don't go...
take it from here.
Which state would you rather be tried in?
Charles.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, because he was a citizen of Nebraska. But, I mean, the first crimes were committed in Nebraska, so...
I mean...
And then he went to Wyoming. I don't know.
He was arrested in...
I don't know how interstate extradition works
You're
in
the
the
host.
in
You
the
should know
50s.
all. He was arrested.
My secret's out. I don't know.
In Wyoming.
Yeah.
For murder.
Then it should be Wyoming that tried him. I don't know. Again, as you say, I have no idea how interstate extradition works.
Especially in the 50s.
Yeah.
Any road up.
They didn't even write on the same coloured paper, let alone share that information.
Well, there you go. So, the two of them, the pair, Carol Ann Fugate and Charles Starkweather, go to trial. Now, he testified against Fugate.
Right.
Claiming that she was willing and involved in the murders.
She did it!
But at his arrest, initially he said that she had nothing to do with it and that he had kidnapped her.
Right.
Okay.
So he kept flip-flopping his story, saying she was a participant or she wasn't.
But he's quite I don't know, just from the earlier discussions we had about him, he seems to have a character of retribution.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure,
So perhaps they had a disagreement. And
he hadn't.
So he's just going to... I mean, it doesn't make any difference to his sentence. So
No, it doesn't.
But he can just make it worse for her.
Yes, if he chose to make it worse for her, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, he said Fugate should be executed as well as himself. This is why reason he testified against her. He thought that she should be executed. He was tried, and obviously he was sentenced to death by electrocution.
You have been condemned to die in the electric chair by a jury of your peers, sentence imposed by a judge in good standing in this state.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. In Nebraska.
Yeah. Now, Fugate claimed that throughout, and even now, has always claimed that she was not a willing participant, but the judge in her case said that because she could have basically escaped innumerable times, that she had to have been at least partially involved.
Yeah. I mean, on the basis that he literally murders anything and everything, regardless of...
Anything that disagrees with him is dead.
Yeah, or would you like a lift, mate?
Yeah.
Yes. Bang. So, meaning she probably would have been instantly obliterated if she said, I'm just going to go...
Yeah, exactly.
Over here.
I mean, also, the only person who was there and lived, arguably, to testify was Starkweather, and he was the criminal, and he was going to be executed. So if he said that she did it, she said, "No, I didn't." You've got his word against hers,
right?
The word of a convicted felon.
Yes,
and arguably neither of them are valid.
Yeah,
witnesses.
Yeah. But ultimately, she was convicted as an accomplice. She was sentenced to life in prison.
I think she should be, really. But that said, she was 13 at the time. I mean, what would that? How would that
14
work?
by the time of the trial. Yeah.
Today, she wouldn't. I mean, it'd be juvenile hall or something, wouldn't it? But it would. It didn't discriminate back then. It just went, forget it, life imprisonment. Oh, but
She was tried as an adult. I guess it's the thing that they do.
Right. So she had prison time.
Yes, in 1973. Her life sentence was reduced to between 30 and 50 years.
Wow. But so 50, what was it originally? 56? I'm talking about the year.
1958.
So she'd served 15 years by then.
Yeah, but because it wasn't life, it was now she was eligible for parole. So after serving a little over 17 years, she got parole in 1976.
And she was 30. Ish.
Yes.
Wow. A whole load of life ahead of you.
Yeah, lots of life ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's been out for 40 years.
She's been, more than 40 years, yeah.
And she's alive and well, yes. As I mentioned earlier, she has applied for a pardon to Nebraska Board of Pardons.
I wonder how
and denied it.
What her daily routine is.
I don't know. Why would I know that? She's
quite interesting to see what she does.
Well, she's at this point she's retired. She was a
what from killing?
She was basically working as a janitor, I think.
Okay. Yep.
Starkweather, of course, as we said, went to the electric chair, 1959.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
The ultimate tase.
Yep.
The ultimate tase.
Instant, unanimous. Forget it. Goodbye.
Yeah. Sure. Ride the lightning.
So that happened, did it?
Yes. So he did it. Got killed.
Frying tonight.
No, don't mourn him. He was dead long before we ever touched him.
So, Pop Cull.
It can't be done, surely.
Are you familiar with a little movie called Natural Born Killers?
I am.
That is based on the
Is it? What?
Yeah.
I'm going to kill every motherfucking last one of you.
No, you idiot.
Wrong one.
Pulp Fiction,
you nerd.
Jesus.
Well, they're all the same film.
Yeah, basically. So
He's
this
only
is
made one film.
Woody Harrelson and I want to say Juliette Lewis. Does that sound right?
Yes. That sounds right.
She's in every one of his movies.
Probably check
I should just look it up.
Yeah.
It's exactly those two people I mentioned. Oliver Stone flick.
Yes.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Thought it was a bit not great.
Okay. All right, fine. That was early 90s or something, wasn't it?
Early 94, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's based, again, loosely based, as all these things usually are, but it's loosely based on... It's basically them, a guy and a young girl going on a murder spree. So it's based on that.
That's pretty big.
The case also inspired the movie the previous year, California.
Yeah.
Which is Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, I think I saw that at the cinema.
There's a film called The Sadist from 1963.
Juliette Lewis?
Woody Pitt?
Sadly not. And in 2004, there was a movie by the imaginative title of Starkweather.
That's a rubbish title, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's because you know the film's not very good, so let's make an association that's really strong.
Yeah, exactly.
Starkweather. That's rubbish. That was obviously no one's ever heard of that one, but...
No. But yeah, California Natural Born Killers, I suppose. Oh, and Badlands. Did I mention Badlands? 1973. Martin Sheen, Sissy Spacek.
Yeah, that's a very famous film.
Spacek is awesome.
That was about that.
Again, loosely based, but yeah.
Sorry, right, okay.
But yeah, it's a guy and a younger girl who go on a
killer with
spree.
younger hanger-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Few films there.
They're pretty good, aren't they?
Good, yeah.
But arguably, they've just nicked the idea or the premise.
Isn't that movies?
Well, yeah, all right. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, the case is famous enough to be mentioned in other movies, in music's reference to it. There's a video game called Manhunt that is. It's
very famous.
Comes up in that. Yeah, literally.
Oh, right. It's not based on that.
It's not based on that.
So that wasn't the story behind Chucky Egg.
But it's just mentioned, like the name comes up or it's used specifically because of the case. So by association that they use.
It's quite a good pop cult section, this. I thought you was going to be rubbish. There's a documentary 50 years ago.
A vacuous documentary that goes on for 15 hours.
Tim Roth
yes,
was in a 1993 movie. It was a TV movie. He was in it, and that was based again on...
What was it called?
It was called Murder in the Heartland,
right?
1993. So, I mean, it's not small potatoes.
He strikes... Was he the Charles...
He was the Starkweather role.
Yeah, of course he was.
Peter Jackson,
yes,
of The Hobbit, etc.
Oh, no, that's not what he's famous for.
King Kong.
Asterisk. Asterisk, which I hate.
Yeah. He did a film in 96 called The Frighteners.
Right.
Which is about a spree killer with a female accomplice. Again, based on Starkweather. It's all based on Starkweather. It's not an original idea, but it is a consistent one. So, yes, basically, this is the story of Charles Raymond Starkweather and his young accomplice, and it's inspired all those terrible movies.
They're not all terrible.
Oh, they are.
Now, if you want a good movie to watch, Peter Jackson's early films are good.
Name one.
Bad Taste.
Yeah, I've seen
Bad Taste. Okay.
Bad Taste is awesome.
I've seen Bad Taste,
yeah. I've seen Bad Taste.
It has nothing to do with the story we're talking about.
No, I know. Yeah, I've seen Bad. I think we've seen that in cinema.
I saw that Scarlet.
Yeah.
But if there's any circuitous route to a good movie, then watch that one.
Tangent into movies from someone we've mentioned.
Yeah. I think I rented that out quite regularly from the local VHS store with my £1 lunch money.
Good Lord. Oh dear, dear, dear. That's all for this time. If you want to know more about what we've talked about on this episode, then just Google it or something. You can listen to all of our previous episodes on our website. That's www.truecrimediary.co.uk. Please remember to leave a review on your podcast provider if you can, or you can email us. That's stuff@truecrimediary.co.uk. My thanks to Jed and Rue and to all of you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next date in our True Crime Diary.